Hey guys, welcome to the Dead Simple Python tutorial series on Tutlings. In this tutorial, we will see how to manage Python projects using virtual environment. One may ask, what is the advantage of virtual environment? For learning purposes, you may not necessarily have to have this package on your machine, but if you are a developer working on multiple projects on a same PC or a DevOps guy managing different projects on a production environment, it is recommended to use virtual environment. So the question here is, how does virtual environment help you to organize your project's modules? Well, suppose that you are working on two projects on your PC, and if your project 1 depends on a package named Flask version 0.12 and your project 2 depends on a Flask version 1. In this situation, it becomes hard for you to have multiple versions of the same package on your operating system environment. This situation is solved by Virtual Environment, a self-contained package manager that helps to install and manage all the dependent packages of a particular project within the project's directory. I have opened a command prompt. Now, all you have to do is verify your version of Python installed on your machine by typing python space double hyphen version all in lowercase letters and hit enter. Now you see that I have installed Python 3.7.4 on my machine. If you haven't installed it on your machine, I suggest you to check out how to install Python 3.7 on your Windows operating system, and the link for it is mentioned in the description below. Now let's have a little introduction to pip. Pip is a standard package management system used to install and manage software packages written in Python. So let me look at the version of pip I have on my machine. It's 19.0.3. You can upgrade the pip version by typing python space hyphen m space pip space install space hyphen hyphen upgrade space pip. Now you can see that pip is being upgraded. It will take a while depending upon the internet speed that you have, and for me it completed in 30 seconds. You can see that it has uninstalled the older version of pip and it is installing the new version, which is 19.2.1. Now that we have successfully upgraded the pip, the standard package installer for Python, our final step is to install virtual environment. For that, all you have to do is type pip space install space virtual env and hit enter. Okay, the installation has started. It is collecting the virtual environment package from the standard pip library that it is pointing to, and it is downloading the files from pythonhosted.org, which is the standard Python related packages website. Now let's wait for the installation to complete. There you go. You have successfully installed virtual environment on your machine, and the latest version that is installed is 16.7.2. Okay, now we will move ahead and install virtual environment for our Hello World sample project. For that, I am opening Visual Studio Code editor by typing code space dot and hit enter. Here you can see the Visual Studio Code editor has launched for me, and if you do not have this Visual Studio Code editor, feel free to go to code.visualstudio.com and download the latest version and install it for yourself. Now I'm back to the Visual Studio Code and open up a folder by clicking Explorer and open a folder of my choice. Let's create a Hello World project under Did Simple Python tutorials for Titlings by clicking on new folder, and let's give a name to this project that we are going to create as Hello World. or we can better say hello tutlings, and select the folder. It will open up that folder in new Visual Studio instance. Okay, so we will create a file called main.py by clicking this icon here, and it will create a file for us with the extension main.py. In this, all we have to do is print hello tutlings and save it. Now we have to install virtualenv for this project. For that, you don't have to move outside of this Visual Studio Code to access the command prompt. All you have to do in order to access the Visual Studio command prompt is hit on Control and tilde at once, and it will open up the terminal for you. Tilde is the key just before the number 1 key on your keyboard. Okay, so that now I have opened up the terminal. Let me install the virtual environment. All I have to do is give a name for the virtual environment that is specific to this project only. For that, all I have to do is type virtual env and space and hello. Let me close this pop-up. Hello tutlings environment. This is going to be the environment, virtual environment for my project named Hello Tutlings, and just click on enter. You can see that a directory with the name of the virtual environment has been created underneath the project directory, and the dependent scripts are being installed. You can also notice that the new Python executable is added to this virtual environment, which indicates that this is completely isolated environment for this specific project, and no other installations of the Python will affect this virtual environment and the project linked with this virtual environment. Okay, now we see that the virtual environment has been successfully installed. Now the next step is to activate the virtual environment. The command for activation of the virtual environment is the name of the environment, which is hello tutlings environment, and give a backward slash and scripts backward slash activate and hit enter. If you are following this tutorial on Unix based operating system, the command is a bit different. All you have to do is source space virtual environment name backward slash bin backward slash activate. To identify the virtual environment is activated or not, you can see that the name of the virtual environment is prepended to the path of the current working directory, which indicates that you are active on the virtual environments. Always remember that when you are installing any dependencies, ensure that you are under activated virtual environment for that specific project. Now I will run the main.py by typing python space main.py and hit enter. It will print hello tutlings. You can also do the Python version check for this virtual environment by typing python space double hyphen version and hit enter. Now we will see how to deactivate the virtual environment. All you have to do is type deactivate and hit enter, and you will see that the current working directory do not have any longer the name of the virtual environment that you have created for this project, and it indicates that you are out of the virtual environment command prompt. Suppose if you want to create another project and use Python version 3.6 in that project, all you can do is to download the Python 3.6 executable if it is not there already on your machine, and install it. Now I am on the official Python's website and I will be downloading Python version 3.6 by clicking on the installer. Ensure that you download the executable installer instead of web-based installer. So I have already downloaded that, so I will go ahead and install the software Python 3.6. Ensure that you copy this path or remember this path, and so that you can just give this path when you are creating a virtual environment that points to Python version 3.6. Now I'll go ahead and install, and I have not selected that add this version to environment variables because I already have Python 3.7 version and I do not want to access Python 3.6 through command prompt. So let the installer progress and complete. You see the setup was successful. Now click on close. As I have successfully installed Python 3.6 on my machine, I no longer need this installer, so I am deleting it. And as I have mentioned, remember the path where the Python version 3.6 is being installed. So navigate to the directory and click on this Python application file type, and hold shift button and right click on it and click on copy as path, and now you will have the full path of this Python executable in your clipboard. So the intention of this directory is to demonstrate the virtual environment installation that has the Python version 3.6 in it. So this is just a directory. So click on this toolbar and type cmd and hit enter. It will open up a command prompt like this, and open the Visual Studio Code by typing code space dot and hit enter. Alright then, so now I will install the virtual environment by typing the command virtual env space the name of the virtual environment I want to give. Remember that the name could be any name of your choice, but be sure to remember it. So for the demonstration purpose, I am giving Py36 demo as the name of the virtual environment, and as the default Python version that is available in this PC is 3.7, but I want to access the Python version 3.6 for this specific project. As I have copied the path of this Python 3.6 version of this installation, I will be telling the virtual installer to install the Python environment from this Python executable, and this corresponds to Python version 3.6. So now I will hit enter. It is running the virtual environment already using the interpreter and using the base prefix. Now you can see in this project it has created a virtual environment with the name that I have given, which is Py36 demo in this folder, and it is installing all the dependent libraries and scripts related to this virtual environment. So now it is installing the setup tools pip and wheel. There is also a way to configure if you do not want to install pip by typing -no-pip. Now we can see that the virtual environment is successfully installed. Now I will activate the virtual environment by typing Py36 demo /scripts /activate and hit enter. Now you see that the Python 3.6 virtual environment is activated. To just cross check that, we can just type Python space /version version and hit enter. Congratulations! Now you have mastered how to manage virtual environments using Python. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so, and share it with your friends. Thank you.